Nice. Yeah. What's it sound like?
Like, you ever heard Phil Spector?
I've heard of Phil Spector.
People are like, so what is this? What does it sound like?
It sounds like nightmares for lunch.
I don't know, so maybe I'll try and cover that.
Imagine a surveillance camera just wanting to be
Because I think it is sort of like
Salvador Dali with an NPC and
stands alone as like a piece of art, not necessarily. It's not a record that you sit down and rock out to, like a Led Zeppelin or something like that.
Man, it's the devil's bunk bed. Better nails and a bag of
Or
vintage
even
hair,
like a
hot pink body bag.
something warm and fuzzy, you know, like some Nick Drake or something.
No comfort in the face of strangeness.
I don't know. See if I can address my ideas I had.
Sounds like
putting it
CGI
together,
psychedelics.
What I thought of it as. Because, you know, I'm not like. I like Motown. That's what I'm listening to, you know? We'll see. So the album started off as a photograph. You see it on the cover. I had just moved from Seattle to Maryland, and my friend Tigner and I were often hunting photographs in Philadelphia before I moved up there. And this is one of the places that caught my eye and I took a picture of. It's a very, in my opinion, this is a very, very Philly album. Inspired by not only the time that I lived there most recently, years before in South Philadelphia, but then also during the mid-90s. I spent a lot of time above Allegheny, like between A and B, Water and Lee, all those really, what the kids are calling Zombieland now. So I was heavily influenced by the things that I saw there then. Until 97 when I joined the carnival. That all really informed what happened with sort of the ideas behind what went into Peter Fonda's waiting room. Just like the hobo trance idea, which sort of the first song that was written and stayed on Rando Bando was Dusty Gremlin. And that sort of encapsulates the idea that I had of like hobo trance, which was really sort of, what's the word for it, like personified by this fellow named Smiley, who, for as long as I can remember, would dance in the median, in the middle of Spring Garden, right out in front of Silk City Diner. Saw him forever out there doing it. And dance, right? He's obviously fucking high out of his mind. But that and, a lot of the other people that I saw up in the Badlands, the Dope Fiend Lean, the Kensington Yoga, whatever else people want to call it. That all really sort of inspired the rhythms and stuff like that I really wanted to explore and see if I could work with in a way. And Gremlin, like it's really staccato, and the instrumentation on that too is like really cheap here and there. Like I used an air organ that I picked up. I don't even know where the hell I was living. Like an air organ on there. There's like an old like antique horn. That had like the Pied Piper like chasing rats. I think it was from like the 1920s or something like that. Like a party horn or something. That was on there. Really a trashy song, sort of like inspired by, and the whole album was really inspired by sort of music that I imagine happening in like Bartertown or sort of like a Solar Babies sort of atmosphere or something like that. The Junkion Planet and Transformers, like sort of this idea of like modems breaking down, and that was sort of with Peter Fonda, or even like go back to like punk radio. And this was like sort of the fleshing out, like maybe all those modems and your toaster and whatnot had sort of had enough time to figure out how to animate themselves and start creating, something like that. It was a loose concept that was coming together based on the photograph. like smiley, stuff like that. And then also there was the plush photo that was going to be the insert, and that's probably like the polar opposite. That's the two wolves living inside of me. I saw that outside of the Age thrift store, 2013, something like that, maybe. Yeah, probably around there. I really need no idea how it appeared. I have to assume that maybe like some employees had some spare stuffed animals and they just decorated the tree like that. It was gorgeous, and stuff like that is also the reason why I love Philadelphia so much. But let me stop rambling. I wanted Dusty Gremlin to think that it was hot shit. It was Miami bass, when in all actuality it was like a crackhead rave out on Graffiti Pier. Every year when I was a little kid, we would turn the trailer into a haunted house for to entertain the rest of the neighborhood. And then it'd be like the whole family would get into it, and we'd build like dummies on pulleys, and we'd have, every room would be a different theme, and we'd build all sorts of stuff for it, and have sound effects records on and all that. We all dressed up ourselves and also ran the pulleys and everything. It was really cool, and people really look forward to it every year. I used one of those records pretty heavily, the same actual copy that I used as a little kid. My family used as a little kid. I used that on, sampled it pretty heavily on the song that's playing in the background here, Cult of Moonbow, which was inspired by the moonbow that I saw in the Daniel Boone National Forest when I was traveling with the rainbow people during my hitchhiking times when I was a younger person. Horror in general was just a huge influence. The first movie that I went to see was 1976, Night of the Living Dead. My dad took me. Don't remember anything of it. But, he had old Famous Monsters magazines that were still at my grandparents' house, and Fangora and all that stuff. And, we went to drive-ins all the time and sit and we'd watch the feature double features and Trilogy of Terror. And I don't know if it was necessarily that great for me, because I got real scared of some stuff. And maybe it influences to this day, like, thoughts about ghosts and whatnot. But at home too, like, for that dark bent, my dad was big into Black Sabbath, Ted Nugent, MC5, all that stuff was getting played around the house a lot. We had a bar in the trailer, and my dad was, when I was younger, had been associated with a motorcycle club, and I knew from the opening notes of Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath that his friends were going to come over, and there was going to be a lot of drinking. There was a lot of drinking, I would fucking cry and go hide. I would hide from the Black Sabbath, now one of my favorite bands. There's a lot of, I don't know if the horror came first or like the family trauma, my mom, my dad, going back, there's stuff that make hell look like a water park. Parents and grandparents, my brother and I had like a regular poor people trauma. As much as my dad loved Ted Nugent and Sabbath, my mom hated it, and she was constantly trying to throw Wango Tango into a yard sale or whatnot. My dad would come out and snatch it back and put the speakers in the window and play it as loud as he possibly could. And as much as my dad was into like blowing stuff up and destroying stuff with me, And my mom was always finding treasures in the trash, and there was a lot of dumpster diving. It was sort of like this dump area across from the trailer park, and we'd go over there all the time. I got caught shoplifting once, and my mom kind of had to, hold off on the reprimands. She realized that when I was a little kid, she had asked me to climb through a truck and steal an oil lamp for her, or like no, it was like a trailer, like a foreman's trailer, like a construction site or whatever. And she put me through the window and was like, get mommy the lamp. I think she still has it to this day too. See if I can get a picture of it next time I'm up north. But yeah, so always going out with mom and like grabbing trash and bringing it back, and she watching her like paint stuff and plant things and build this and this and that. And my parents were both very, very creative in different ways, It's pretty cool. They gave me the space to be as creative as I want. I may have derailed. Tired. Let's see. So far we have Black Sabbath, drive-in theaters, Hobo Trance States, Dope Fiend, Rainbow Gatherers, and Dumpster Divination. I don't know. Yeah, I still look through the trash, still find gems, still make stuff out of it. For a long time, like I wasn't really active with sound. I was doing a lot of sculptures and paintings, found collages, stuff like that. A lot of wandering around and finding pianos in the woods for a while. A lot of pianos in the woods for some pianos and goat bone, full goats. Weird stuff. Yeah, that. But I'll throw some pictures up of some of that stuff, like Eve's legs, made like out of a urinal that Tigner and I had come across, like an abandoned like urinal factory. And Eve's legs, unfinished hotel. I forget the name. Glassy eyes. I forget the name of the lot. Like this was like probably like started like doing a lot of Seattle. Collages before Seattle, like 2004, 5, and then sculptures in 2008, 9, 12, 13, going through there. Those sculptures and paintings and stuff, the characters in there, like these are the sounds that inhabit their day, or something along those lines. Articulation is not my friend on this entire project here. Smoking too much hash while I'm recording it, probably. Not enough, I don't know. Is it electronic? Yes. Is it analog? Also yes. There's ghosts in the digital dust. I'll attach a video that Pitchfork did on Musical, the place that cut and pressed it. And I've known John Man Ray since before I met him through his work with Bats Without Flesh. Before I stayed out in Columbus, Ohio with him in '96, and we worked on this together when he mastered it. But what does it sound like? Still haven't answered that. And I'm sure I won't, and I can't answer that for anybody else. And it's different for me every day. And I used to tell people that, like, it was like if Jay Dilla were a Daniel Johnston impersonator using Hawkwind's gear. And then I joked about it, like half joked about it being dusk wave instead of dark wave. It's not quite dark, there's a little dappling there of light, but it's past the golden hour. I talked about it being modem blues. I guess like, cause I'm kind of like using like the like concepts of like cliches and like blues music, but instead of like Devil Dog on a Love Train lyrics and like Robert Johnson bends, kind of like using typical 80s patterns, the Sawtooth Wave, some warped cassettes and, a fake Juno. probably has more in common, really, like, with, really, with, like, artists like, Joseph Cornell, or Marcel Duchamp, or, Duchamp, or, like a Rube Goldberg machine. I've always liked those. And it's kind of like that. Like, some of the stuff's way too complex. There's always things like kind of falling over, stuff like that. Yeah, so maybe you can tell me what it sounds like. I don't, like, most of my friends dislike the stuff. And no one's really offered up an opinion. Maybe people are nervous to say, like, it's fucking weird, man. Is it music? I don't know.